All right. Hello, everyone. I'm here again, and I'm now with Melinda Gallant, who you've probably seen on many of our shows. But Melinda also works a lot with local theater and with directing and acting. So, Melinda, I was wondering if you could give a little bit of a kind of like where you were when everything was kind of going into lockdown and stuff like that, and kind of
Yeah,
describing that sort of.
you mean when the world stopped?
Kind of, yeah, yeah. How it kind of it was a slow and fast stop in some ways, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
definitely the Earth slowed down on its axis. There's no doubt about it. I'll tell you, the one thing that has struck me through all of this is through social media, all of the artists that are on social media and the musicians and the visual artists and the spoken word artists are all putting things up online, trying to touch humanity because they feel it's what humanity needs at the moment. And I
right.
think that's pretty profound,
Yeah.
truthfully.
Yeah. So I mean, right now we need more of the art than we've probably ever needed before, you know, and just sort of like the mental distress that everyone's going through at this point. Um,
Yes.
but it's funny because I've talked to another person recently about being a local gig musician and being able to still kind of play music, you know, because it's usually they have a small act. But how are you going through it now, being something that you're kind of more bigger theaters with groups and everything like that? Obviously, there's one person shows, which you've done before, but how are you kind of coping with this as far
Well,
as?
I think that's the hardest part. I do Cape Conversations, and I did a show with David Keene, which was wonderful. And Dave is a great guy. I think the biggest thing right now is the world stopped.
Mhm.
So here are all these shows. I actually had a show that was going to go up May 6th. Obviously, it isn't. There was a show before mine, Tommy, which is a great rock and roll show. These were all going up at Katuitt, and everything stopped. So now everything's on hold, and that means that my show's on hold. The show after my show is on hold. It means all the concerts, all the get-togethers, all the art exhibits, all those things are on hold. And so it's kind of like dominoes.
Yeah.
When one falls, do they all get pushed back, or does he lose some of them? I mean, Katuitt Center for the Arts is a nonprofit cultural organization here on the Cape, and it's small. I mean, it seems big, but it's small
Yeah.
in comparison to others. And so, consequently, how do we move forward? There's a lot of questions there. I mean, it's going to move forward, and I'm hoping that it's going to move forward with Tommy and the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, which
Do
is
you
a
know of any
comedy.
information about like, can you talk about a little bit like what you know of? What's going to happen? What's the protocol right now for these ones that are?
Protocol is everything stopped. We don't
Okay.
know.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody knows. There was a play that was going on at Woods Hole Theater Company, a couple of white chicks talking. Wonderful play, two-person play, fabulous, funny and great.
Hold up.
They
Were
did
you describing it or is that the actual name of it?
no, that's what it's called. Couple of white chicks talking. That's
That's
it.
funny.
That's the name of it. And it was very. It had done one performance, and they had to close.
Yeah.
So now they have other things planned for the fall. So are they going to put those back, or are they going to bring this one back? I mean,
Right.
it's a conundrum for a lot of organizations. There's just no doubt about it. And let's be truthful, all funding has stopped.
Right. Yeah. That's probably the biggest part. Yeah. When the money is not there.
Right.
The
Well,
big
and it's
stuff.
not there because, the people that Katuitt deals with usually are people who have a lot of money in the stock market. And,
Right.
a smaller organization like Woods Hole Theater Company, small one,
Hmm.
and I don't know their finances for sure. And they have some angels,
Yeah.
but they don't have those kind of angels, I don't think.
Right.
So they don't have their own building. They use a community hall, etc.
Right.
So I think that's going to be the difference.
I mean, it's funny when you talk about the domino effect, you know, it starts with something huge like Wall Street, and then it impacts people that are connected to these organizations that help fund these organizations, you know, and everyone kind of is getting hit by it
Right. Well,
negatively.
I mean, if you think about it, it's Wall Street. You
Right.
think the richest of the rich,
Right.
right? Those white-collared old white men is what I think of normally.
Yeah. Right.
And they are the richest, and yet what they do on Wall Street impacts a little tiny theater on Cape Cod
It's
in
wild.
Woods Hole, Massachusetts.
Right.
It's
Amazing.
scary.
And the impact of it. Yeah. How it just does that.
And I hope out of all this craziness, and I mean, my daughter calls us the rebellious baby boomers because we don't want to stay home like we're
Yeah.
supposed to do. Although I did ask her to bring me wine, and she hasn't volunteered to drive from Marshfield to bring me a case of wine yet, but maybe she will after
I should
she
drop some off there. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
you go. Anyway, it was really funny though. I mean, seriously, she calls us, we have seen a lot in our lives. We've seen assassinations, we've
Mhm.
seen world wars, we've seen non-committed wars, such as the Korean War, the Vietnam War,
Yeah.
and then 9/11. And we saw all those assassinations before, all those things. And in my generation, we've
Yeah.
seen all, we've lived it, right?
Uh-huh.
Depression, I mean, I was born after the Depression, certainly, but, we've seen and heard about it and grew up with it.
Right.
And this is something I've never, ever experienced, ever.
I know. Yeah. It's very strange. I mean, I've, been alive a little bit less than you, but yeah, it's just amazing to hear
Just a
about,
bit.
yeah, from other people too, that this is unprecedented, and to be going through this as my age, it's just weird. It's weird to know that people don't know what to do. I think that's the craziest thing. People, like you said, people don't know what's going to happen in the future of even these smaller organizations like Atua Theater or these other theater companies. They don't know what they're doing because like Broadway probably doesn't even really know what they're doing,
No,
So
no.
it's amazing how it's just impacting everyone. It's kind of equalizing in some ways, yeah, it's weird. So where,
It's very equalizing because people of wealth and people of means are dying just as well as poor people.
right. Yeah. So
You
it's a
know,
pretty
it
interesting
doesn't have,
circumstance.
it goes across all race, all gender, all
Yeah.
socioeconomic planes. So,
Yeah.
it truly is hashtag we're all in this together.
Right. Yeah. We're all kind of equally a part of this thing. Yeah, you're right. And doesn't, there's no political correctness at all to the disease,
No, there isn't.
whatsoever. Yeah.
There isn't. And you can't look backwards like, well, why they should have, would have, could have done this back in
Right.
December.
Yeah.
You can't.
Right.
However, we can look forward and say, okay,
Right.
so let's say everything's open by July 1st. How do we get people to want to come and sit next to each other in a theater?
Right.
That's a tough thing.
Right. Moving forward. I was thinking even when this thing is all, they have vaccines and stuff, I think there's going to be residual fear, still
Oh,
residing in a
sure.
lot of people, being close to people and stuff like that.
Sure. We'll
So.
all be doing the little symbol. We'll all be bowing to each other,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing. So.
Yeah. The Japanese are ahead of their time. Yeah. They'll be ready.
Like by about how many hundreds of thousands of years?
Yeah. So
Probably so.
can you go back? So where were you in the one you were directing, the production you were directing? Where were you exactly when things had to kind of stop? How far along were you?
Well, we actually had been rehearsing for just a little. We'd done auditions,
Okay.
and we had started rehearsals. We took a week break off because of February.
Okay.
We thought, well, we'll be back after February.
Right.
We came back and rehearsed 2 weeks, and that was it. So we are still rehearsing using Zoom.
Oh, so you're still going. Okay. When was the planned date of that? What was the planned opening
It was
day?
to open May 6th.
Okay. So hypothetically, well, I guess you don't know if anything else pushes everything back, but you're kind of still potentially en route to hit that, right? And somebody, if you're still rehearsing or.
Well, we're still rehearsing only 1 day a week. We were rehearsing
Okay.
3 days a week for 3 hours. So it's a big difference.
Right.
However, the other thing too is I have to keep my actors engaged,
Right.
and it's not only the actors. We have a huge production staff for a set
Right.
and, all those people who are not working right at the moment.
Are you meeting with them at all?
No, I'm meeting with my stage manager, my assistant director, and the music director.
Okay.
We get together on Zoom.
Yeah.
But I do everything. We do 1 rehearsal a week, and we just go through the text. Our music director is Katie Coughlin, who is fabulous.
Oh yeah, we actually made some videos with her and Sam.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
So anyway, she came up with a way they can do it through Zoom.
Wow.
So we mute everything, and then the one person sings, and everybody else just sings their parts. It works.
Wow. Yeah.
Kind of bizarre, but it works. And this next week, they're going to get a little homework done. I'm going to tell them they have to video themselves singing their song a cappella.
Oh,
So it's just to keep them engaged.
yeah,
And when we get to do this show, if we get to do it, which I'm still, got my fingers crossed,
yeah.
get to do it. I think we probably can come back and be able to, if we do these one a week, I think we can come back and actually put the show up in probably 9 rehearsals
Wow, that's great
once we
news to
get to the
hear.
stage.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, who knows when that'll be. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing that you guys are creative enough to, obviously you guys are a bunch of creatives, but putting ideas together using technology and making this still happen, that's what's awesome. You're not letting this
Well, for some
derail
of us,
everything.
it's easier.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
true.
for some of us, it's easier than others.
I'm sure, yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how to get my show up on a Google Drive for Sandwich Community Television right at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's what is wonderful about all this, that there's a silver lining in all this thing. I think it
Mhm.
really has brought our community together.
Mhm.
I do.
It's funny, by separating us, it's brought us more, or made us realize how important it is for us to
Yeah.
be together.
Well, I heard the president of MGH Hospital say, this is not social distancing, it's only physical distancing.
Right. I have been hearing
Right?
that more. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's much better term,
Right.
because I'm not less social. I'm just not giving anybody a hug at the moment.
Right. We're still there, emotionally there, and
Yeah,
not
yeah,
physically there, So that's a big
right,
difference. Yeah.
right. But I do want to write the play Love During the Pandemic or something,
Love in the time of COVID.
Love in the Time of COVID. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a much better title.
Yeah. That would be great. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's comedy in there somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of comedy. I mean, once we're past a lot of this, I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of stories
Yeah,
coming out throughout. I mean, the
right.
toilet paper scare was, I mean, still funny in my opinion. One
Well,
of the
it's not only funny, you still can't find it.
I guess, yeah. And maybe it won't be funny once we start running out. Maybe yeah,
Right,
that's the
right,
point.
right.
Okay. Well, I
Crazy.
appreciate everything talking to me. Do you want any sort of final statements you wanted to tell the public as far as like about local theater, local arts? What we.
Well, my husband's a visual artist, and he has gift shops, and he works with small businesses with what he does. He also sells, original paintings. I guess is when we get back out of this, not only go to all the restaurants, think about buying locally.
Mhm.
So I guess that's the big thing. Live love locally. I think that's buy
Right.
locally. I think that's it. And I also think the other last thing I would say is that the arts are a solace to all of us, and take advantage of them now as much as you can, free online, most of them.
Right.
And when they get back up and running, buy a ticket. That's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
Yeah. Now that it's gone, it's almost like I wish I went to more shows and did more stuff. Go to
Yeah,
restaurants and see more musicians and
that's
stuff like
true.
that. Yeah.
That's true.
That's great. Well, I really
Well,
appreciate. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I'll see you in the front row of 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee for a
Yeah.
little.
Still on in May, but could be pushed back further. But yeah, we'll keep it in our radar.
Yeah, I would say more like July.
July. Yeah, to be safe. Yeah.
Be safe.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Melinda. I
Thank
hope you
you.
stay healthy. Yeah.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.